Hello dear students, welcome to module 2 of the lesson His First Flight by Liam O'Flaherty, and we were reading the lesson. Till now we have read that there was a young seagull who was trying to fly his maiden flight. Okay, however, he was not able to do so, although he was very desperate to fly. He was not able to fly because he had a certain fear in his mind that he was going to fall off the ledge and his wings would not support him when he would fly. So, he did not have enough courage. So that's what the story is all about. And then we stopped reading over here on page 35 when his mother started flying towards him when he was awfully hungry. So she flew towards him with a piece of fish in her beak, and he was so much lured by that fish, and he was very delighted that his mother was coming towards him in order to feed him. So But as his mother came close to him and was about to feed him, she just stopped there and she halted in the air away from him. So I had asked you to guess why his mother had halted in between, and you must have guessed it by now. There's a famous quote that says, "Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime." So here lies one of the themes of this story also, that his mother did not want him to make him dependent on her or on his parents. She wanted him to become absolutely independent. So she did not feed him that fish. She just waited for him to start flying on his own. So that's the crux of the story. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. And by now he was so motivated, and he was almost frustrated that he was not getting that fish, and he was famished. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space. Then a monstrous terror seized him and his heart stood still. Sometimes when you do some adventure sport like paragliding or something like that, my heart would stop. So the same thing happened to him. His heart stood still. His heart skipped a beat probably. He could hear nothing. But it only lasted a minute. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach when he was falling from that height. He felt that he would fall, and he could feel that wind rushing against his body, and then he could feel wind under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air, and now he could feel that wind, just touching his wings and going past. He was not falling headlong now, and now all of a sudden he realized that he was not falling, but he was gradually going upwards. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. First he was soaring downwards and then outwards. So he would gradually go upwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. He was feeling a bit dizzy, but it was natural. By now he had realized that. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upwards. Then he started going upwards. Ga 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 go go. His mother swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise And do you think his mother was excited? Yes, of course. Like all mothers, when they see their own kids, as they start walking for the first time, they feel excited about it. So in the same way, his mother felt very excited, and she swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. Then his father flew over him screaming. So both his parents were around him, surrounded him, and they were uttering screams of joy. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, curveting and banking and soaring and diving. Do you think this is also one of the themes of the story? That it's very important to have bonding in the family. And people, they do tend to get motivated when their family members support them and provide them the required push and the courage at the right time. So, I feel this is also one of the themes of the story. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commended himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. So, by this time he had completely forgotten that he had not always been able to fly, that it was his first flight. And then he commended himself, he just praised himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it. He was just above the sea now, with little ridges, small waves moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly, and now he was really happy and cawing, looking around. His parents, and he obviously had a sense of achievement. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. They had already landed on that green water which was ahead of him. They were beckoning to him, calling out, calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea, and finally, these seagulls, they can glide on the sea also. So his legs sank into it. He screamed with fright, and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. First of all, it was his first time when he had landed on water. So he was frightened in the beginning and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise. However, he could not rise because he was extremely exhausted by the strange exercise. Moreover, he was hungry. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no farther. And he was smoothly floating on that sea. He was floating on it, gliding onto it, and around him his family was screaming, and his entire family was flying around him, screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. So what do you think his family members were trying to do now? They were admiring him, appreciating him, and trying to motivate him and rewarding him by providing him scraps of dogfish. He had made his first flight. So I hope you will be able to comment about the title of the story. Will you be able to justify the title? This seagull had eventually made his first flight. So that's the name of the story. You should be able to justify the title. Now let's discuss a few questions from thinking about the text. We'll discuss question number 2 first. Let's discuss question 2. It says, The sight of the food maddened him. What does this suggest? So, the sight of the food maddened him. This suggests that the young seagull had been sitting on the ledge for more than 24 hours now without eating anything. So he was famished by now. Moreover, when he saw his mother tearing at a piece of fish, he could not resist himself. What compelled the young seagull to finally fly? His mother hit the last straw on the camel's back by picking up a piece of fish and flying across to him with it. When she was just opposite to him, she halted. Then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish and eventually he started flying. So this acted as a stimulus. Now let's come to question 3. They were beckoning him, calling shrilly. Why did the seagull's father and mother threaten him and cajole him to fly? The seagull's parents had tried everything, but he was reluctant to fly due to fear of falling down. He saw his brothers and sister flying, but wouldn't make any efforts. His parents were reprimanding him and threatened him to let him starve on the ledge. So I hope it's clear to you. Let's discuss the themes of the story. So a few themes we have discussed while reading the lesson also, and some more themes are here. Being brave is not the absence of fear, but the ability to conquer fear. That's one of the themes. I think we should take notes. We should always be confident and have belief in ourselves. That always leads us to success. Self-belief is a major factor that leads us to success. Our elders, especially our parents and teachers, always motivate us to strive harder. They might scold us or reprimand us, but they always do it for our well-being. With a resolute faith, willpower, determination and perseverance, we can conquer any fear in the world. And as we discussed while reading the text, that family bonding and that motivation that we get from our family members is very important to develop us fully and to inculcate a sense of confidence in us. So I think that's it. The lesson must be clear to you, and very soon I'm going to upload a worksheet on Campus Care. Kindly complete all your work in your notebooks. Thank you very much. That's the end of Module 2. Have a good day.